While our media is responsible, on one hand, for informing, agitating, entertaining, and inspiring us, it has also become a tool by which merchandise is sold, data is collected, and money is made. Are these two goals mutually exclusive, or can we effectively regulate them so both can be served? Helping me navigate these questions today is Victor Pickard, assistant professor at the Annenberg School for Communication at the University of Pennsylvania. He is also, most recently, the author of America's Battle for Media Democracy, The Triumph of Corporate Libertarianism, and the Future of Media Reform. Welcome, Professor Pickard.
Thank you for having me on the show, Peter.
In your book, you contend that the 1940s, from a media perspective, happened to look a lot like the 2010s.
You had people who were very upset about the nonstop advertising on the air. They used terms of derision, like they called them plug uglies and singing jingles. They were very concerned about what was happening to their programming, nonstop soap operas during the day. So I think a number of these indictments against commercial radio were crystallizing into a full-fledged media reform movement in the 1940s.
Let's take a look outside of our own country, because most other advanced democracies deal with the challenge of building a responsive media by removing much of the profit-making motive. What does the research actually show about when governments help subsidize the media for a country?
A lot of Americans, when they hear media subsidy, those two words in the same sentence, they fall into a fetal position. But in many countries, as you know, this is not a controversial idea. Many media systems are publicly subsidized. The BBC's always trotted out, but most leading democracies have very strong public media systems. At the very least, they're finding that publicly subsidized media institutions do not tend to be more subservient to those in power. If anything, they tend to be more autonomous, more independent, even more adversarial to those in power compared to privately owned, say, commercial newspapers in the United States. They're also showing that the publics in these countries tend to be better informed and better engaged around particular issues compared to the publics of highly commercial systems.
What organizations today do you think are articulating an alternative vision for our media?
One group that I think you may have mentioned in passing, in full disclosure, I used to work for them, Free Press, is one of the leading, probably the leading media reform organization in the United States. Beyond Free Press, you've got Common Cause. The former FCC Commissioner Michael Copps has been very active with Common Cause and has been out there on these issues. Public Knowledge is another organization that's been very devoted to media reform issues. And then I will note that there's a lot of local media justice organizations out there.
Sure. Well, I can't thank you enough, Victor, for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Peter. I've really enjoyed it.
For Professor Victor Pickard, I'm Peter Bermudez for Arlington Public News.